So a very warm welcome everyone and very good morning and happy new year to everyone.
To you
Happy
also,
New Year,
madam.
Monica.
Yeah.
Happy New Year to you, madam.
Very happy
Yeah,
new,
thank you.
a very happy new year and much
Thank
love to all of you.
Thank you. So we thought that it's a good opportunity to come together and maybe start the new year not on a very kind of a pompous note, but a kind of a reflective note, which we can maybe use the rest of the year. So if we start with a reflective note, then we can put effort towards that reflection, whatever we had in the beginning of the new year. And to also know that every day, every moment is a beginning. It's not only the new year, which is a new beginning. Every new moment is a new beginning. And to give ourselves a chance to make a choice, make a different choice every moment, which is more towards our higher possibilities rather than repeating the same old patterns all the time. So that not only we are happy at the new year's start, we can be joyous almost every moment, of our life. So just to be aware that we have this choice at every day, every moment of our life. Mother says that one is born every moment, but we don't feel that we are born every moment because we are repeating the older patterns. We are the older selves all the time. So also I think we need constant reminders all the time because we forget, all of us forget. And using this opportunity to remind ourselves that I have this possibility, that I can change towards being a better person, towards whatever I want to be, towards my higher possibility at any moment of time in my life, not only at the start of new year. Right. So with that, there is a little meditation that we will do. It's like a little instruction from Jitsunma Tenzin Palmo. So she will play this clip for a very short clip, 4 or 5 minutes, and then we will sit with that for 5 minutes, whatever she says. And then I have a longer something which says about being the best friend of yourselves. We'll listen to that and then we can share our reflections later. Yeah. So I'll play this and let me know if this is coming up for you also. So I'll play just the audio. I think that would be enough. So
The basic idea, what we are trying to do is to develop the ability to be conscious, to be aware. Because so often when we are thinking or feeling or speaking or whatever activities we are undertaking, we are not present. We are just caught up in all our thoughts, and we're not even aware we're thinking. So the practice is simply twofold: to gradually allow the background noise of our thoughts to begin to calm down a bit, and at the same time to develop the ability to be aware, to be mindful. Mindful means just to know what's going on when it's going on without commenting on it. So the easiest way is to start with the breath, because we are all breathing. And normally when we're breathing, we are not conscious that we're breathing. So now we are simply going to bring the awareness to the breath, especially the out breath, and then allow it to come back in and then out again, without straining it, without keeping the mind very relaxed. very spacious. And all the thoughts going on in the background, it's like if one were in a room where, say, the television is on, but we are reading a book or working on the computer. So although we are not turning the television off, it's there in the background, but our attention is not on the television. Our attention is on whatever is our task in front of us. So our attention here is on the breath, and the thoughts are going on in the background. We're not trying to stop the thoughts. We're just not giving them any attention. And if we get caught up in the thoughts again, as soon as we recognize that, no problem. We just bring the attention back to the breath. So it's very, very simple. And it's very important not to become tense or tight. Just leave the mind feeling very, very open, spacious, relaxed, but aware. And this is the essence of the practice. Later you go on, giving attention to the thoughts, giving attention to inner phenomena, etc. But the crux of it is the ability to be attentive to what we want to be attentive to. And here that is just very simply the breath. We also can use, I'm not guiding the meditation. This is why I'm telling us now what to do. So even during the day, if we are walking, we can just be aware that we are walking. When we're sitting, we can be aware we're sitting. If we're agitated, we can again bring the focus back to the breath. The breath and the mind are very interconnected. And when the breath is smooth, then the mind also begins to calm down. If we're excited, the breath becomes agitated. If we're fearful, the breath changes. The mind and the breath are very interconnected. They say like the rider and the horse. So as our attention gets more settled, the breath also will begin to get more settled. It's such a simple practice, but the Buddha used it in order to become enlightened. It's a very simple practice, but at the same time, it is a very profound practice. And we shouldn't think it's not important, because if the Buddha used it in order himself as his main meditation practice, I think that shows how deep and significant it really is. And it's so simple for everybody because we're all breathing. So maybe we just sit for 5 minutes.
Just confirming before we start, is the instruction clear? Because then she'd not be guiding us in the middle of it. We'll just be staying with the breath, giving our attention to the in-breath and the out-breath. And if the thoughts come, thank you, Shardaji. So if the thoughts come in between, we'll not pay attention to them. We'll be paying attention to the breath and let the thoughts and feelings go over in the background. We are not giving attention to them. Yeah, that's what we'll do for 5 minutes. Okay.
And just make the back straight, but not tight. It doesn't matter if one's sitting on the floor, if one's feet, keep the feet so that they're on the floor or on the cushion. Eyes open, eyes closed, doesn't matter. Keep the shoulders relaxed. And then just breathe. And know we're breathing. Let's do it. So, how to become the master rather than the slave of our minds, isn't it? And how to open up the heart to unconditional love for all beings. How wonderful. We have the potential within us, isn't it?
So I think it's a beautiful reminder for all of us that there is a task that is to be done as human beings. We have a task. We are not here just to have families and settle down and have a job and have a good married life, and if there is a good married life. Yeah, so there is a purpose to human existence. And from time to time, masters have reminded us of that purpose. And breath is something like a boat clinging to which we can cross over the bhav sagar, as they say, the emotional overwhelm, the mental overwhelm, which otherwise feels so solid and real. And when we begin to not give these repetitive thoughts any attention and give something more important, which I now want to do more attention, then things have a tendency that they change. Things turn in our favor rather than in our not in our favor. Yeah. So as long as we can, just to keep reminding us to come to the breath again and again, and as she was sharing that, to be aware of whatever is going on in our head. If I am agitated, to know that I am agitated. If I am becoming angry, to know that the anger is arising, because otherwise you're just puppeted around and no control at all. Yeah, so let us take a few reflections or thoughts, if any, at this moment. Anyone who has any sharing?
Hi, Monica. This is, within this 5 minutes, I could find out how many times my mind is going out, At least as you said, I know that I'm going out. So I'm able to come back to my breath, maybe for a few seconds. Again, it jumps, oh, I should do this, I should do that, or something, some wavering type of feeling always comes. But the only difference is I'm able to find out that I'm going out of this breath, which is very beautiful. In this new year, I at least I'm able to find out and bring my, as you always say, bring the puppy back. Yeah, I'm able to bring the puppy back. Which is very, very good. I can find out that I am not here, which is very, very beautiful.
Yeah, absolutely. I think me and Taru, when we started doing these meditations with the instruction of Tenzin Palmo, we also had the similar recognition that no matter how many scriptures one may have read or good words one may have read, but the mind is still a monkey, as you said, keeps on jumping. And now just to become aware what is happening in our being, just to know that I have a restless mind most of the time. And in that knowing, we are able to, as you said, bring the puppy back. Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you. Yes.
And it is, easy to lift mountains, I believe, because this is more difficult than that. It is very difficult to control or watch over our thoughts and the jumping of the mind. This really, really is going to help me. Yeah, that's what I believe. Yeah. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Yeah. Yes, Taru.
Madam, good morning.
Yes, Mohanji. Yes, please.
That mind and now I came to know that mind and breath are interconnected. Because when we are in that position, that we are in potential, what is within us, and I was remembering that this one only I was concentrated on breath. At that time, mind was going somewhere, but now I could concentrate. After hearing to Pamu, I can concentrate and I can. Thank you.
Thank you. I think I can share this link with everyone, those of us who are here today, and whenever we want, we can use the instructions. Yes.
Yes, I just wanted to share that, it's like when we start with such practices, because in the beginning we are seeing new things, right? It's easier for us to go back to them. But after some time, maybe after even 4 or 5 days, there is a possibility of some judgment or frustration setting in. It's been 5 days. When will it settle? It's been 20 days. Why is it not like settling even a little bit? So the point I just want to share from my own experience is not really for it to settle, first of all. First is just to be with it, like wherever it's going, just seeing it's going, maybe you see, and then you just keep coming back to the breath, and you don't even know that one day, suddenly it'll start making somewhere more sense. Suddenly you'll see that you're more deep seated. So it's like Tenzin Palmo only says that it doesn't matter that, it's not important that you do it for an hour or 2 hours a day, but it's very important that you have a continuity. Like even if you can take out 5 minutes, and 5 minutes is nothing, right? From a day, we can just even take out 5 minutes in a day and just, go to do this, that no matter what, I will give myself these 5 minutes and do it. Things change. So we don't have to rush. We don't have to be frustrated or judgmental. I just have to say that even if nothing changes, nothing happens, I will give myself these 5 minutes and see what's happening. So yeah, just wanted to share that. And one more thing about New Year's. There's nothing new really about the New Year's, because it's us who walk into the New Year, right? Just as we were in the old year. But just to ride on this collective that everybody says there is a new year and there's a possibility of change, I think it's a very nice time to start something new in your life as well. Again, just to ride on the collective, if we want to start this from today, that would be nice. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Taru. I think this continuity that you shared is extremely crucial, because many a times it happens that we start up a new practice and after 10 days, oh, I don't see anything happening. So, let it go. And the old habits come back. And just to maintain this, as you said, 5, 10, whatever little possible, to have this continuity in throughout our days or nights. We can, kind of fix up an alarm in the morning or in the evening when there is more silent time with us. So it's good to start with periods where there is more silent time, like people are not around us all the time, half awake, half up, or going to sleep, that time, taking out this 5 minutes for ourselves, which is, yeah, as mother says that for a long time you see that in the egg the chick is developing, but you don't see any outer change in the egg. And suddenly one day the egg cracks open and the chick is out. So when the egg is just looking the same, it does not mean that things are not changing within. It's just because we are not able to see. And we see, as Ataru was sharing, we see palpable changes in our ingathered state. We are less dispersed and less scattered all over as we usually are. Yeah. Yeah, anything anyone wants to add on before I share the next thing? Yesterday I was talking to somebody regarding wishing something for ourselves in the new year. And then the little one asked that, is it true? No, is it true that if I wish, then this will happen? So then I shared that, because maybe it was the first time that he was wishing. So then I said, no, it's just that then you remind yourself that I have to work towards it. So just by wishing well, things don't change. We have to work towards what will I do if I have wished that I want to be a better person. So one has to make the necessary effort to remind myself, oh, I wanted to be a better person, in the beginning of this year. So would I still be doing it? No. So, in that sense, so just by wishful thinking, never any good change happens. Wishful thinking is for a purpose, that so that I remind myself of the necessary effort that I will be putting in order to realize whatever I have wished. Yeah. Okay, so let me share this little, it's 5 minutes clip. I mean, if it's okay with everyone, I would like to play this. It's regarding Maitri. In Buddhism, there is this concept of Maitri, friendship. And the best friendship begins with being our own friends. And all of us at one point or the other, we leave ourselves, we abandon ourselves, and we forget that I have to be my closest companion. So I thought it will be a nice note to begin this morning with, to kind of taking a vow to be always our bestest friend. So to getting the essence of friendship starting from my own self. So I'll play this video. It's a video in front of you. Okay, just a second. Let me know if things are working for you. Okay, just a second. Share sound. Yeah, okay. Now it should work.
So first is Maitri. Maitri is the basis of compassion. So I want to talk about that first. It's a Sanskrit word that is often translated as unconditional friendship with oneself. And this is very hard to come by, unconditional acceptance, you could say, of yourself, unconditional friendship with oneself. It was much more common that we disapprove of ourselves and that we denigrate ourselves. Like I saw a cartoon recently, and there's this man kneeling by his bed, looking upward, with his hands grasped in prayer, and he's saying, I asked you as nicely as I could to make me a better person, but apparently you couldn't be bothered. So Maitri is about beginning to make friends with oneself, not really thinking that it's going to come from the outside anymore. And as you know, we all look to the outside, to other people, to spiritual practice, meditation. jogging. We look all over the place to try to make ourselves feel good about ourselves. And you know, affirmations are all about that. You sort of proclaim, I am smart. I am good looking. I am worthy of being loved. And you sort of scream it, you know, and all the time something in you is saying, yeah, sure. So where does this friendship, a kind of being able to relax with yourself, that's really what Maitri is, feeling at home with your own mind and your own body, where does that come from? That's a very important question. Because not only is it the basis of compassion, it's the basis of, it's like the seed of happiness or well-being or glad to be alive. So where does it come from? And I think my opening statement was that all of this has a lot to do with our relationship with pain, our relationship with difficulty. So the Buddha had very revolutionary teaching. And one of the fundamental things that he said was, in a human life, there's pain. And a certain amount of pain is inevitable, such as growing old, such as dying. That's the most inevitable one. Such as illness, such as the more that you love, and really, and loving is something that brings tremendous sense of well-being to all of us, to actually love somebody and feel loved. But the more stronger that is, then the more sadness and grief there is at the loss of that person. And such as if you put your hand in fire, it burns. So there's a lot of discomfort in life. And the fundamental teaching of the Buddha was not to struggle against the pain in our life. And that is not, that's not the kind of news that we really like to hear.
I believe that they have renewed contact with human beings that
I'm so sorry. I think nowadays we have so much of ads on YouTube. Just a second. It'll take me a moment. Huh? So yeah, I think that was it. After that, a new clip starts. So I just wanted to put in front of us this reminding ourselves to be unconditionally accepting of our own self, to not to leave, as she was talking about, in difficult situations, we abandon ourselves. If somebody insults me, all my attention goes on to what he said. I forget this being, you know, the inner being. I forget this field that I have to take care of. And it's not me using the word field for the being that we are. Kabir, he uses the being that we are as a field of which we have to keep a guard. You know, we have to as if protect and nurture this field. And most often then not in difficult times we abandon ourselves. Our attention goes so much on the external happening that we leave being close, being friend to ourselves. And if that, I think Matri, as she was sharing, if that vow can be taken, that I'm never going to leave myself no matter what may be the situation, I think that really shifts something within. And as she was reiterating that that is the seed of compassion. Without being one with myself, without being unconditionally close with myself, I cannot be loving, I cannot be kind, I cannot be compassionate. And people who are loving, kind, and compassionate, we can use this vice versa, that they are their bestest friends. So if I really want to be a best friend to anyone else, that cannot happen if I'm not truly first a friend of my own being. So yeah, any reflections on this clip, anyone?
Yeah, Monica, I have a small doubt. See, just now you were mentioning that if somebody insults us, we feel very bad. We feel like crying. Instead, how it can be dealt? Can you please explain on that a bit more?
Yeah, anyone wants to add on what Sharada ji has just shared? Okay, so please come up if one has anything to share. So Sharada ji, it can be seen in one way as this. So imagine there is something that comes from external situation. All the time we are flooded with things from the external, so-called external, because I consider myself as the body. So whatever is different from the body is external, right? So any person says something that becomes an insult because I consider that person something different, something separate from me. So how can we not leave or abandon ourselves? When something comes from the senses, I listen to something being said and that feels like an insult. All my energy goes on in ruminating about what that person said. That should not have been said. He also said this 5 years ago. He would all again say it 5 days back, 5 days coming, because he is like that. So I get lost in the forest of thought. That's what we do. In getting lost in the forest of thought, I abandon myself. While in that moment, if I, as Tenzin Palma was sharing in the beginning, and that is just one experience that I'm sharing, there may be many, many different experiences. In that moment of insult or whatever coming, if I choose that, yes, whatever may be happening, I'm only concerned with staying within my being with the help of breath, say, for example, as if that is a background TV that is going on. Right? And what happens when we stay within with the breath is whatever right action is demanded out of me in that moment, I will be taking up that right action. So it's not a passive state that I'm entering in, that I have as if, like put a bar on whatever is coming and I'm numb to whatever that person is saying. No, it's not like that. Because when I do not focus much on whatever is being said and I stay as my best friend along with the breath, I stay within, collected with the breath, not leaving my side, then what happens? I am guided from within for the right action. So if a sorry needs to be said, I will go up and say sorry. So not to take the overwhelm of emotion from the other person. And also it will be easier for me to let go of that insult very, very easily, because I did not give it any attention. It did not mean anything. Usually it means a lot. Usually whenever a person says something, insults you or whatever, it means a lot. Kaise keh diya? Wo keh kaise diya? Now I know that no matter what the other person says, I know that I am here with me. My sense of self is not dependent upon what that person thinks of me. So we are not looking for approvals or validations, which we are usually looking for from our loved ones. That if that person says you are good, only then I'm good. So now I'm believing more in my goodness. I'm saying I am my best friend. I know that I have this enlightened nature within, and I'll work from that space no matter what may happen. So that is one way of putting it forward.
Okay. Okay. Beautiful, Monica. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, if anyone wants to add on anything that they experienced or any reflection, please feel free.
Yeah, just a little bit. When I react when somebody says something to me, first of all, to know that who's reacting, right? Like, I have a certain image about myself. I expect to be treated or spoken to in a certain way because, I deserve respect and a certain, I don't know, come on, like, yeah. So, more than my peace, I'm valuing these drama, right? These images. So instead of just, if somebody says something and I'm like, okay, is that true? Like, irrespective of how it was said, how mother says that the first thing is to actually sit with it for a minute and say, is it true? Is there some truth in it? Do I do that? And I was surprised. I want to share my own experience because, there are certain people in your life who kind of criticize you a lot, right? And after a while, you shut yourself. You don't even hear them because, it hurts or you don't want to. But once you are ready to grow or progress, and if you actually can move beyond the ego that why would they say that to me, there is often some underlying truth, and there are areas that you can actually work on. So first of all, it's a very win-win situation because you can actually get pointers that, oh, this is what I do. Okay, thank you, kind of a thing. And secondly, say somebody says you're a horrible person, and I revert back and say, no, you are a horrible person. I am being a horrible person, saying, I become that truth that they are accusing me of. So again, just saying that I can either be silent right now and just actually focus at what are they saying, and whatever I have to say, I can also say it, but I can say it with the space, from the space where I want to say it, and not just, like patthar ka jawab, patthar se types. Like, I don't have to lose my place in whatever they are saying, because for me, right, that not losing myself in this drama, not giving into the ego, because my ego would say that, I would say, I have this perception that ego is only when I'm acting up, but I am a victim. This is how people talk to me. The ego is both as high as down, right? Like when I say, like Sada, you suggested you feel like crying. Who wants to cry? The one who feels that there is this expectation, there is this thing that this much has to be there, and it's not been given to me. So just reflecting on that as well, that why would I feel the need to cry? Like, why do, it's like they said something. Why do I have to just believe it? There's this thing that usne kaha, tune suna kyun? Like, I can also have that scream that, is that true? If yes, I'll work on it. And if not, it doesn't matter. It's a bit hard in the beginning, and yet it's really helpful if we don't always just flow in that flow of wherever the other is trying or is already, right? I don't have to join him on that field of fighting. At times I can, at times I don't have to. So I can make that choice. It doesn't have to be an impulse. And mother talks about pauses a lot, right? Like, pause, see what you want to see, and don't just flow in the emotions or the sentiments. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you, Tarun.
May I say something, Monica,
Yeah,
please?
please. Yeah.
What Taru said just now was just so beautiful. And over the years, as one moves on, with different masters, different teachings, and slowly towards your growth, I realized, I mean, I used to do this, initially I used to get very hurt and always cry easily. And just like you said, क्यों कह दिया मुझे किसी ने, मैंने तो कुछ कहा नहीं. Why are they always behaving like this? And then slowly, I started on the path that, मुझे नहीं कहा. It's just my ego. It's just my ego. It's not me. It's not hurting me, the essential, the pure me. But even that didn't work. And then I remembered Kabir's Doha, Nindak Nere Rakhiye. Wala. I'm not remembering the words. You would know, Monica. And then that really hit me कि जो criticism कर रहे हैं या जो कह रहे हैं, they might not be saying anything to my essential self, definitely, but in my body form, maybe they definitely have something of value in whatever they are saying. Maybe I need to really seek within and, look at myself. शायद कहीं सच्चाई है उनके शब्दों में और शायद मुझे ही अपने आप को, this is my way of growth. And that really helped me. When I started looking at it like that, then I realized that in these areas, these are the areas which people are pointing to. So मैं खुद को सुधार सकती हूँ यहाँ. और बाकी, yes, like you said, and like Taru said, the hurt comes, goes, but you grow above these things with the grace of the masters, the grace of the divine. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you. Absolutely. I think both you and Taru, I got reminded of this Kabir couplet where he says, साधु ऐसा चाहिए जैसा सूप सुभाए, सार सार को गही लहे, थोथा दे उड़ाए. So he says that we need such kind of a sadhak on the path who only takes the essence of what is the crux of the matter, as you and Taru were sharing, that if the person is saying something, there must be something which I need to work upon. So to take just that part, just that bit, sadhu aisa chahiye jaisa soup subaye, it's like a chalni, chai ki chalni we have. So in that, or soup, more, I think more referring to that kind of a thing that we use winnow for gehu, in which when we are doing winnowing, all the little particles which are lighter in weight, they kind of get flown away, while the heavier ones which have the gehu with them, that stays in the winnow. So can we be that person on this path, that whatever comes, I take only the bit that is necessary, and all the rest of it, in the tone in which it was shared, or what all I can bother myself about with, that can be let go of. So to give more importance to my lightness and perfection, rather than to just getting myself lost in the forest of thought, as we were sharing, that oh my god, what was the tone in which the person said, he has said this 5 years ago also. So all this drama that we got lost in again and again, if that can be let go of, and it only the essence can be taken, okay, where do I need to work upon more? Okay, because we all need to work, as long as we are alive, we will be moving towards more and more better human beings. So people around us, and it's beautiful to see that all of us have in our families people around us which are our biggest critics, and which are not easy to let go of. That is also one point to notice, that there may be other friends that you can let go of. Okay, after this day I am not going to meet this friend, but these people who are very, very close to us are our constant critics, and it's not easy to leave them. You're tied and glued to them in one or the other way. There must be some reason why it is like that for most of us, and the reason may be that we cannot move towards perfection if we are not ready to look at our faults. And the other word that the mother uses for the divine is perfection. So you can either say I'm moving towards the divine, or you can say I'm moving towards perfection. And for both, you need constant self-reflection, constant looking at yourself and finding out what is still ugly in me, what is still weak in me, what needs improvement. And that is that helps if people are there who can point at that, because otherwise I can fall into too much of self-satisfaction that mera to ho gaya, ab bakiyon ka kab hoga, and that never happens. So thank you, Taru and Sulakshana ji. Yeah, any last comments? We have last few 10 minutes or so, if anyone wants to share anything. Okay, so I'm taking it quick. I'm assuming there is no reflection. And if there is, you unmute yourself and share, please. So I wanted to introduce you, maybe some of you already are aware, of something called as the Bodhisattva vows, which myself and Taru, we have come across. And since the time we have come across, it's like pretty attractive. Like we started taking them daily, kind of setting our intention right. I'll put them in front. I hope it is visible. So this is something coming from the Buddhist teachings, traditions, and just kind of reminding ourselves in the morning, what do I really want to do with my life? And if this resonates with anyone here, one can take this on the path, because we feel that it really sets the intention right in the morning or in the day, reminding myself that, okay, this is what I want to become. So how would I act or behave in a certain situation if this is what I want to be? So a bodhisattva is a person who puts himself at the back and allows others to progress through him. But I cannot allow others to progress through me if I am not, first of all, my own friend. That's why we heard the friendship clip before this. So I'll just read it once, and then maybe we can reflect upon it for a moment, and then if somebody wants to read it again, we can close with that. Or maybe, I think not me. Taru, would you like to go ahead and, if possible, read, if you have the bandwidth?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Just 1 minute before I start reading it, one thing that this really helps me with is, it has brought more accountability in my everyday. Say if I have to wake up and do something, earlier on it was just for me, right? But when I wish this or when I aspire for this, somehow there is more, like whatever I am doing, it's for more, like it's not just for me. So that I find to be really beautiful. It really motivates and it gives you more energy. So I'll start with reading this. May I be a guard for those who need protection, a guide for those on the path, a boat, a raft, a bridge for those who wish to cross the flood. May I be a lamp in the darkness, a resting place for the weary, a healing medicine for all who are sick, a vase of plenty, a tree of miracles. And for the boundless multitudes of living beings, may I bring sustenance and awakening, enduring like the earth and sky, until all beings are freed from sorrow and all are awakened. I'll read it once more. May I be a guard for those who need protection, a guide for those on the path, a boat, a raft, a bridge for those who wish to cross the flood. May I be a lamp in the darkness, a resting place for the weary, a healing medicine for all who are sick, a vase of plenty, a tree of miracles, and for the boundless multitude of living beings, may I bring sustenance and awakening, enduring like the earth and sky, until all beings are freed from sorrow and all are awakened. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you. I think that's the reason you're getting up on time, Taru, as you said. Yes, Ritu. Yeah.
Yeah. Hi, good morning, everyone.
Good morning. Yeah.
Yeah. So this first line which says, may I be a guard for those who need protection. So sometimes, I get confused here because a lot of times we think that everyone is taken care of. We need not worry. And God's grace is there for everyone for their own journeys to continue on. So if it says here that may I be a guard for those who need protection and a guide for those, and the lamp and the resting place and the healing medicines. So initially, I used to think like this. Maybe I didn't work so much on this, but then yes, the basic thought was this. But then I slowly molded myself thinking that it's my journey and everyone has their own journey and they should be left with the God's grace to be taken care of on their own. So it's a little contradicting. I know I am very always confused in asking questions, but
No, I think it's a very relevant point, Ritu. And Taru and myself, we have reflected upon it, these points, still reflecting, not that the reflection is over. And when we were reflecting over it, the first point, may I be a guard for those who need protection. There, I need to discern, like I need to be discerning to know that who needs protection. Because when there is an adult in front of me who is all, powerful and can take care of himself, there I don't need to poke my finger in. But especially for little children, because they are in their innocence and vulnerability, they cannot speak for themselves. To guard their innocence and the capacities, so there one could see that that may be needed. And the other place is that for the elderly, who are now a bit maybe a little compromised with physical challenges, and there they may need protection. So to also use this power of discernment that we have in order to see who needs protection, because I don't have to poke my finger everywhere, because people are active, agile, and they can take care of themselves. They have all their senses up. So I think I also need to kind of use this discerning capacity within to know, first of all, who needs protection, if any, and only then offer the protection. So it comes very easily in when we talk about little children, because if a child is walking on the street and you see a truck coming, now you need to go forward and save the child, because this child is not mentally or developed enough that he would save himself. So they are just a very physical example of that. And also in the later lines it comes that may I be a boat, a raft, a bridge for those who wish to cross the flood. So I don't have to pull the people that please cross the flood. Those who wish to cross the flood. So if somebody does not want to cross, or for them flood is not even there, I really don't have to poke my finger within, because every soul has a different journey. So to also, I think, parallelly be aware of this discerning capacity, to use it to know where my help is required and where it is not required. So that is what is coming to me at this moment. Yeah. If anyone wants to add on.
Yeah, but one thing, like you gave the example of a child coming in front of a truck. So if God's grace has to be there to save that child, I think I'll have that discernment in me to save that child. The instant reaction would be to save the child. But yes, if in someone's soul journey, soul path, it's already there that a person needs to go now. and that's why he's in front of the truck. So automatically, won't that happen?
No, automatically it doesn't happen. There is a little parable.
Who am I to decide that, okay, I should be kind of interfering or poking, or it's a very, for me, it's a very thin line. Maybe for people, they're very discerned or wise. But
No, it's a thin line. You're right. You're right. You know, Ritu, the thing is like this. In choosing not to use my discernment and letting everything go according to whatever divine will is.
But won't the discernment also be given by the divine to me?
Exactly. But the effort needs to be there. Effort is also given by the divine only. No?
Yeah.
So if I'm not choosing to put effort, what would you say? Where is the divine in the picture?
नहीं, but वैसे कहते हैं ना कि everything, I mean, even a leaf moves because of the grace of the divine.
Yeah. And the very fact that you are asking this question is powered by the divine. There is this little parable I want to share, and then I'll give over. There is a person who has just learned that everything is Brahman, everything is divine. And he goes to his village and shares it with everyone, and is very gaga about this thing, that everything is divine, you don't need to bother about anything. And there is an elephant coming on the road. And on the elephant, there is a person, Mahavat, sitting. So the person so this person who has just learned that everything is divine, he's walking on the road. Elephant is coming from the front, and he says, everything is divine. I'll be taken care by the divine. So let the elephant come. I don't need to do anything. And the Mahavat is saying, please get on side, please get on side. But the person does not listen to that and says, no, everything is divine. And the elephant throws him aside. Now, when this happens, he's really hurt, and he goes back to his guru and he says, how dare you say that everything is divine? No, because see what happened, everything is not divine. But then the guru said, the Mahavat was also divine.
So, but the creature in that person, that everything will be taken care of by the divine, and he doesn't understand that the Mahavat was also sent by the divine. That thought must have also come to him from the divine. I mean, that he was not sensible or wise, or to understand that, yes, this is happening to me and I should react and I should listen to the person.
Yeah, yeah. The other possibility here I see is that there is no divine. Now, what would you do? Forget about the divine. There is no one out there looking for you. Now, how would you behave?
Then I would try to fend for myself.
Exactly. That's what we have to do.
But if I surrender, if I just say, okay, everything will be taken care of by the divine, then, I mean, if I have to be saved, that feeling, that thought in me that, okay, I should listen to that person will come in me.
Yeah.
And if my journey is such that I don't have to be saved, I have to go through some pain and suffering, then probably that thought of saving myself would not come to me, because I have to go through that path.
Yeah. So I think what is appearing to me, Ritu, is because the divine is not an idea, but yet the idea of divine does not work for everyone. So don't push yourself into it. Live as if there is no divine. But you have your intelligence, you have your buddhi, you have your capacity of discernment. Now there is no divine. Yes. Okay, how would I behave? Because I think we cannot pressurize this idea on anyone who is not yet okay with that. And that's completely fine. Because not everyone is a bhakta who is a better person, right? There are better human beings who have no belief in whatsoever in divinity. There are people. So that is one possibility that I see here, that forget about the divine. There is nobody looking after you. Now, how would you fend for yourself, as you were sharing? Yeah, I think Taru had something to share.
Yeah, I wanted to say that, this thing that I am being taken care of, that's like just sharing for my own thing, that I use it for myself, right? Like that is like an underlying principle, that is the ground that I stand on. And yet, it's like, make me a perfect instrument of the divine, that is an aspiration. So if I see something that needs to be done factually, not based on my emotions or my thoughts, but factually, if I see something that needs to be done, I have to move. If when you were talking, I was thinking about Kurukshetra, right? Krishna was here as an avatar. Maybe the war didn't need to be fought, like uski unki eyes say, Duryodhan would have died, and the whole thing could be avoided, right? But he sat, he stood there and he said that, Arjun, you have to fight, you must fight, right? It wasn't a passivity that, yes, now that I'm here on earth in body form, I'll take care of everything. Ram had to take that 14 years of Vanvas, and he had to go to Lanka. He had to, fight Ravan. So I think this is a thin line between, say, active surrender and passive surrender. That passivity seems like I don't have to do something, but that's, I think, not completely there. I don't have to do everything, but there's something that I can do, I must do. And then that is there, it's like that overprotection doesn't need to be there, but whichever is hit for everybody, maybe my unavailability is hit for somebody. It's like, it's very, again, different from different situations. These are not, we keep on thinking about strict definitions about myself, my code of conduct, and divine. But the right thing, if we are actually present to hear this, to see it, we do get that that needs to be done. And if doing something is causing me and the other pain, again, we might do something which is not needed. We do it, we see it wasn't really okay, so I don't do it the next time. Or I do it 10 times and I don't do it, and see how that kind of shapes out. So we can have these experiments as well, because yeah, again, and there's no right or wrong answer, but the passivity, mother cautions a lot about it, that the passivity would not work. The effort has to be there to, yeah. And about that first thing, that may I be a guard for those who need protection, Monica, we had also discussed that it's for the other beings as well, right? It's for, say, animals, it's for insects, it's for, because it's like there is the same consciousness flowing in all. So if I can protect someone, like if you are there and there's an insect, they say that it should also feel protected. So that was also one of the things that, yeah, we had discussed.
Yeah, thank you. This idea of surrender, I think it's a very huge topic. So not, we are just touching upon it. Surrender is not a passive thing. Those people who are surrendered to the divine or the higher force, they are very highly given people. They give their lives to something more than themselves. They are not sitting on the couch and saying, I am surrendered, and let the divine do whatever he wants to do. They are not like that. So this idea of surrender, as Taru was sharing, we have this passive idea of surrender, that you, as if you leave effort when you surrender. Well, what I see is more happening is, when you surrender your tendencies and patterns, and you do the right effort. You do, as Taru was sharing, the whatever is beneficial for me and others. That is where you put effort. You don't put effort now in your tendencies and patterns and thought patterns or whatever you were engaged in. So surrender is a large topic, and we cannot just think that we understand surrender. So let us keep it open, that I yet not know what is surrender. And only then we can learn what is surrender. Yeah. But so I really appreciate you putting it forward. I am sure it concerns each one of us. Yeah. Yes, Preeti.
While listening to all this, certain thoughts were just coming. नंबर वन, जैसे अब आपने डिस्क्राइब किया, जब एक बच्चा जा रहा है और आप देख रहे हैं तो उसको प्रोटेक्ट करना हमें है कि नहीं. So I have that ability to do it. Maybe there's another dog on the road. He cannot go and protect that child, but God gave me that ability to be in a human form and to protect. Also, just multiple thoughts I'll just run through, and we're all looking and hoping and working on making this world a better place, because यही world है, यही है जो हमें पता है. So how will we make it better? We will let things happen, or will we make an effort to stop the wrong things from happening? That's how our role as a person also keeps getting amplified. Today, I may just be a homemaker and protecting just the 4 people at home. Tomorrow, I may be an RW representative taking the welfare of the colony. The next day, I can, be a head of an organization, and then maybe a prime minister. What will be my role? I'm then a global leader or something. So बड़ा होता जाता है अपना आपका role. Third thing, will that give me peace of mind if I allow that act to happen that night, that day? And when I go back, when I'm, because, okay, I also see people, somebody chopping a tree. I react. There's another person on the road who blindly chalta ja raha apna music sun ke. But there's a third jana who will instead of just reacting, might also take the right steps to, I may react by getting angry with the person. The third person may get, okay, no, utro niche, तुम्हें law समझाता हूँ, ऐसे नहीं करना है, आप पेपर दिखाओ, आप act ठीक कर रहे हो कि नहीं कर रहे हो, you are harming, So it's like just how we are growing and progressing. So when that third person was stopping the person from chopping the tree, and I understood, oh my God, there's so many technicalities which I have to understand. Oh, there's a law for it, and there's a reason why there's a law, to protect the environment and all. So और clarity आती रहती है जैसे जैसे हम experiences जो life में आते रहते हैं. So, and I think that is what is progress, truth, light, love for the tree. In this example, we just keep progressing like that.
Yeah, beautiful. Thank you, Preeti. Yes. So it's just as Preeti shared, I think we put the effort now at the proper place. All of us are all the time putting effort, mostly in pleasing others, which never works. And I think what Preeti just shared is that putting the effort as the right place, using the same energy for the benefit of all of us. Yeah. So what do you say? Shall we call it a new year or new day? So thank you everyone for joining in today and staying for so long.
Thank you, madam. Very good
Thank you.
discussions.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, everyone. Have a blissful day and year ahead. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank
Thank you. A very blessed new year to all of you.
Thank you.